It's 8:37. We're going to call the Economic, Agricultural, and UW Extension Committee to order. Madam Clerk, are we in compliance with the open meetings laws?
We are.
The agenda has been presented. Moving on, is there anybody here who is not on the agenda who wishes to address the committee? Is everybody on virtual unmuted? Do they have a chance to address the committee? Okay, moving on. We have the minutes from last month's meeting. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented. I need a motion.
Oh, sorry.
Motion from Mr. Duffy, second from Mr. Betcher. In discussion, is there any comments on the minute agenda or the minutes period? Hearing no discussion, call for a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Going on to the Sawyer County Agricultural Fair Association report. Is anybody here to speak to that topic? Seeing none, moving on now.
I have had some discussion with Ron Kinsley with the board appointment to the fair board. The concern is whether they're still proceeding with the fair, and I believe they are at this point. But we're keeping an eye on that, and Mr. Kinsley will report if there's any activity that's going to be changing with the fair.
Okay. Moving on to University of Wisconsin Extension Department report.
That's us, and I didn't submit a report since we did a pretty lengthy one last month. I think Aretha was going to try and be on, but I don't see her on the hooked in, so she's going to give you a little bit of a farmer's market report. So I'll just make sure that information gets sent out to the committee, and whenever you would like us to present, just let me know.
So we have 2 new members, and this committee is one that has some budgetary questions that arise, and we have a responsibility as committee members to support the budget requests for the groups that report to us. And so it has been my thought, and it's been my actions in the past, that those committees would, at some time throughout the course of the year, would update us and train us as to the services and work that they do on behalf of the county, which then in turn justifies the budget allocation that we have to decide. And it helps us be informed when our other colleagues, when we're in budget discussions, want to talk about cutting programs, that we can speak to the merit of what these programs are. So Lori is ready at our discretion to have her staff come in and explain the various aspects of what the services that are offered. And I think it's a very useful exercise. It's a little bit time consuming, but it's better for us to know this on the front end rather than fight for budget cuts or defend against budget cuts on the back end. And so starting next month, we'll just, if you and Tom could work out what sections, what departments you want to come in, and then have them, in addition to the report, just explain what their services are. And then we can just kind of graduate that over the next couple of meetings so that it's not too much, but it's enough that everyone can participate. Anything else from UW Extension?
Not today.
Okay. Hayward Area Visitors and Convention Bureau. I think Sherry's virtually here.
Yes, I am. I thought maybe I could share my screen. Am I able to do that, Carol?
Just a second.
I just did a little PowerPoint to make it easier to follow along.
Floor is yours.
You want to try again, Sherry?
Host disabled participant sharing screen. It says the host disabled participant screen sharing.
Like that
There
green
we
button.
go. Now she's calling.
There we go.
Yeah, Sherry.
Can you see it? Can you see it?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So I just wanted to give a little bit of background on who our president right now is Amanda Wilson from Deerfoot Lodge and Resort. Cheryl Treeland is our vice president of Treeland's Resorts. Our secretary is Margaret Hoffman of Holiday Inn Express and Suites. And our treasurer is Chris Treeland from Pat's Landing. And then our two county representatives is Chuck Van Etten and then Don Rotek for trails. And then I wanted to let you know we also have 17 other board members that include marketing partners, lodging, and then we have a lodging representative in each quadrant of the county. And we also have industry representatives on our board, including restaurants, events, services, and attractions. And then we had a large discussion on sports shows, what we were going to do with those, with the whole COVID thing. And the Wisconsin State Fair, of course, got canceled. So we have put some money down on a few of the shows that will give us a refund if it is canceled. So that's kind of where we're at with those. Again, our board felt it was really important to attend these shows because it gets us in their environment, the tourists, and then they love to talk about Hayward and find out more information. So, so some of the things that we've been doing, the Wisconsin Department of Tourism has been amazing with us. They just had, they have this money, it's called the Joint Effort Marketing Grant money. And usually they use it for sales promotions and events. But since so many events got canceled this year, they offered it out to other people or other things. Can you see my stuff?
It went out. It went out
Oh.
on me. Just give me
Okay.
a second.
Anyway, so the Joint Effort Marketing Grant. So we were awarded $16,225 to do a snowmobile grant, which is very unusual for us to get a grant that is in a season where we, attract tourists pretty easily. So I'm pretty excited about that. And then, a couple of years ago, we got received the designation as the snowmobile friendly community for Sawyer County. So we're going to incorporate that into this grant money, and we're going to do like a scavenger hunt and get people to ride their snowmobiles and stuff to the different signs that we have around the county, and then they can be entered to win a nice package worth $1,000 to come back at a different time. So we're pretty excited about that. Also, right now, the Department of Tourism is offering free, if you have any kind of a deal. So like if you have, buy a cabin and get a second cabin 50% off or something like that, you can go ahead and they're offering that free right now for anybody who lives in Wisconsin. So that's really a nice, do I have to click on that or?
Sherry, do you have the ability to email that, your presentation?
I do. So you want me to just do that?
Well, I mean, we can't see it, so
Okay.
get a chance to kind of read it over the course of the next month. If we got any questions, we can bring them up to you probably at the next meeting.
Okay.
Do you have anything else you wish to add? We're sorry to interrupt your presentation.
Well, I mean, I just don't know if you want me to keep talking or do you want me just email it to you? The only other thing I wanted to ask was, I noticed when I was on there this morning getting the agenda under the Sawyer County Economic and UW Extension Committee, it said that there's supporting organizations and it only has the economic development listed. And I'm wondering if we can be listed there too on that page.
Do you want to send us a screenshot, Sherry, and we'll look at it? Send me a screenshot of that website page.
Okay. right now or later?
Just in the email and we'll look at it.
Okay. I will do that.
Okay, you're
Um,
back up. We're at Wisconsin Department of Tourism.
Yes. And then we also, I don't know if you noticed, but we were in the Play the Ultimate Fishing Game. And the Chip of Flowage was included in that. And that was just like a virtual fishing tournament to keep, people who were stuck at home interested in fishing. So that was really great that they included Sawyer County in that as well. Some of our website stuff we've been changing up, and we've got new analytics now, so I have better tracking for our members. Also now you need to have a cookie disclaimer on when you log in, but once you log in and say it's okay, then it doesn't ever ask you that again. So that's kind of nice. We also have a new visitor request page that is easier to navigate. And things are really different right now at the Information Center. We just opened up, right after Labor Day or right after Memorial Day. And we don't have a lot of foot traffic, but we certainly have, it's insane how many vacation guides we're sending out. I mean, last Monday we sent out 87 vacation guide requests. So people are really interested in finding out about us, and that's great news. Discover Wisconsin will be, we just kind of finished the draft for the ATV segment, and we will be doing that shortly this fall. We'll be starting to film for that. So some of the stats that I did that I thought might be interesting for you guys. I did April versus May with our marketing, and our website users are up 34% from April to May. Our sessions are up 15%, and our page views are up 66%. Instagram followers in just 1 month went up 7%. Facebook, we added another 150 followers. Now, interesting enough, Twitter went down 2%. So then what I did is I compared last May 2019 versus this May 2020 to see, what tourists are looking at and what they're doing. And website users were up 16%, sessions were up 23%, and page views were up 51%. So interesting for the states that are looking at us. Wisconsin is up 19% from a year ago. Illinois is up 31%. Minnesota is up 14%, and Iowa is up 12%. So that's just some interesting stats. Some of the PR we had in the last couple months has been really great. Outdoor Life, I don't know if you're familiar with that, but they did 2 videos. They were fly fishing for muskie, and they came the first time, and they had such a good time, they came back again. So that was, and they caught muskies, which is really good. The Travel Wisconsin had a fish fry face-off, and Pine Ridge was highlighted in that. Go World Travel, they named 7 top lakeside vacation spots in the United States, and they picked Ghost Lake Lodge, and they also highlighted Nelson Lake. I don't know if you guys are familiar with John Gillespie, Woods and Water, but he is amazing to us. He does this stuff free. He's in our area all the time. Him and Pete Mena are constantly fishing, and they were here on May 9th. Travel Wisconsin did a couple other things for us. And then the Milwaukee Journal, they did a really nice article on May 21st that said, that the Northwoods is going to shut down tourism with this COVID and encourage people to come visit us. And then we got a new deck. And I just wanted to highlight the new deck because, I'm always looking for ways to save money. And so I contacted NABA, which is Northland Area Builders Association, and asked them if they had anybody that would do with the deck for us. And they're like, you know what, we'll do the deck, we'll do the labor free if you just buy the materials. So that's what we did. And we're really happy with the results. We have a little delay on the railing for the ramp side, but it was an inexpensive project to do because we had some free help. Any questions?
Look forward to seeing your presentation when you email it over.
Okay.
We're still struggling with the virtual.
Oh,
connection.
'cause you're not
Ms.
seeing it.
Taylor is trying to get in, but she is not able to join.
Okay.
So we have to work that out.
I'll send it next time. I thought maybe I could share, but I will definitely send it to her next meeting.
Thank you. Mr. Hoff.
Fair representative this year, if you want to go back to that agenda.
I do but 1 second. Ms. Taylor's been trying to log in and she can't. So we have to work that out, whatever that kink is for board members. If they can't be here virtually, we have to get that straightened out. And I think what we ought to do is do some kind of board training so that, because it's not, I don't think it's the county. I think it's more of just the user interface that's having the difficulty, and we just need people to kind of be trained on it. So, because it makes it look like that we're not trying to make them give access, and I don't think that's fair. And that's stressful because it happens right when we need it the most.
So sorry I'm late. I did try to get on, do access from home. So when that didn't work, on the road I came, and our current president has not been able to get access at this time. So with the fair, what we are planning on doing is we are still moving forward until we have told that we cannot. And that is going to come from directly advisory role from the county health. From county health.
County health has the ability to decide if we have a fair or not.
That is advisory roles from our WAF organization. They can determine if it is a safe atmosphere for us to do that. So when we went through our civics lessons that we had in all the WAF meetings that we have had throughout the past 7.5 weeks, that is the guideline. So until we are told that we cannot have it, we are going to plan as we are going to do that. We will, should we not be able to do that, we are working on contingency plans for our kids to have opportunity to show their animals in a safe manner, as far as if we have to do something separate, individual, where it is just the, just the kids there and a judge doing the social distancing with the judging. For us to formally have the fair and for us to follow our DACP guidelines, we have to have the animals and we have to have it be public viewing. If we cannot have the public there in a safe manner, we will have to move that viewing on a virtual level. Really, that isn't what we want to do as a fair. The fair is a wonderful experience, a great community atmosphere for us to get together, and really it's amazing for Santa County. So we are doing our best to try and make plans and make things happen for these kids to have opportunity to show their animals and still have opportunities for them to come and have a great opportunity at the fair. Things are probably going to look different. We're kind of moving away from, we have people movers. I do not know how I can pack 20 people on a moving wagon down the hill in a safe manner. So, that is going to be something that's going to look a little bit different for us. Lines are going to look a little bit different, and how people are going to maneuver through the fairgrounds is going to be a little bit different. We'll have the increased sanitation. We already have sanitation stations there in our proactive ways to combat E. coli and listeria and all those other great things that come along with animals. We have a lot of that stuff already in place. We just have to move it to a different level and increase it at a higher level as far as our more sanitation stations and things of that nature. How they serve the food is going to be a little bit different. Some of the events that we have for the animal auction that we have, that organization puts on a buffet meal for their buyers. That's not going to happen this year in that manner. They'll have a meal, but it'll be just different. So those are some of the things that we have in works at this time.
When is the dates for the fair?
August 13th through the 16th.
Any questions? Susie is trying to, but they keep trying to direct her to the CJCC meeting, so I have no idea what to do about that at all.
And it was the same issue that I was having.
Can she, oh, she can't see us. Can you text her the link?
I sent her the web.
And that would be
ID
because the
and
Zoom meeting number is different than what, looking at the number there, looks different than the number that, so that may be where the issue is.
Okay. Any other questions for the Surrey County Fair? About the fair, to the fair? Is it fair?
Are you working with public health?
We have been in contact. We were, Rick has been leading that up. We would encourage any additional things. One of the main things that we don't want to happen is to get completely set up and then for 2012 to feel that it is not in an appropriate manner and then try to stop. That is feasible and that is a possibility that is out there. That is a possibility that would absolutely decimate the town.
So what would be the point of no return for your fair?
We are looking for a drop dead date of July 15th of where we will make a determination.
As long as you don't call it drop dead date. Just
Okay, absolutely, I can change that. But that is, you know, as that point of no return, yes, that is.
Any other questions? Thank you for your report and thank you for your patience and flexibility. I appreciate it. All right, so we are going now to, well, Northwest Regional Planning can't be here, but they will be here next month. Going now to number 11, the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation report. Mr. Morgan, do you have the ability to speak to this one?
Certainly. The WEDC is doing $2,500 grants for businesses that meet certain parameters. There are about 92,000 in the state that qualify, and there are 30,000 grants available. So not everyone will get one. So what we're looking at, there are several entities that can send a letter basically acknowledging and saying that yes, this business was in business as of, I believe, February 1st of 2020. They only need one letter from one of those entities. Getting more letters does not increase their chances of getting it. There's this different matrix that they look at with different issues such as, you know, industry, what's your hit, all of that stuff that they will determine. So what we really need to do, I guess, from a county standpoint, is just have a point person so that during our webinars and so forth, if they decide to come to the county for that letter, who do they come to?
And the letter establishes that they've been in business for a certain, or
As of a certain date, right? There's a sample letter on the WEDC website that I think Paul, Mr. Verhoeven, referred to, and they are using, because I did see that one request had already come to the county.
right.
So I guess we just need a point person, whether that's the clerk's office or who would we send them to if they wanted to request that letter from the county.
Well, yeah, it would depend on if we know they've been in business. I mean, that's the only qualification that we're
Correct.
responding to in that letter.
Correct. Yes.
You can forward it to the clerk's office and then we can either figure it out or get back to you that
Okay.
we know or don't know the answer to the question.
Certainly. And there are several other entities, Chamber of Commerce, the Economic Development Corporation. There's a lot of different entities that letter can come from, but it only needs to be one. You don't have to get letters from 6 or 7 different ones to increase your chances, because it will not increase your chances.
So would that come under the board chair signature?
Well, it's just attesting that to the fact that they've been in business. So it's not a endorsement or anything else. It's just they were in business on this date. And so, I mean, if we've got records, I think the one that came through was somebody that they were working with in that department. So I do have that knowledge. A lot of businesses, we won't have information, so we wouldn't be able to respond as the county.
Right.
But
And I don't think we're going to get a ton of them. I think they're going to mostly go to the chamber or the EDC or other entities. But in case we do get one, we'll send it to the clerk. I don't expect it to be a lot of them.
So what action do you want from the committee?
I didn't need an action, just to have a point, just to identify a point person. And if that's the clerk, we're good.
Anything else?
Can anybody get this loan?
It's, I believe it's, small businesses with less than $1 million in revenue. So that's where the 92,000 for small businesses in Wisconsin, but
And
yes,
less than a certain number of employees as well.
right, there's,
Less than 50 employees.
correct. It's definitely targeted for small businesses.
Independent contractors, not qualified.
But that information is all on the WEDC website. The EDC did a webinar last Thursday. We had Lance Ossing from the WEDC, our regional director, outlining the program. We're doing another one at 2 o'clock this coming Thursday. And then the portal for those applications opens up, I believe, at 8 a.m. Monday morning, the 15th, and runs for about a week. It's not first come, first serve. So nobody needs to be sitting at their computer at 8 a.m. Monday morning thinking if I get in first, that's going to increase my check again. It's not. It's not first come, first serve. There's a matrix that everyone will be met against.
All right, so Ms. Taylor is now with us. Ms. Taylor, do you have any questions for Mr. Morgan regarding the item 11A, which is the WEDC grants for small businesses? It's a grant or a loan?
It's a grant.
No, I do not.
Moving on to the annual report, Economic Recovery Response Team. Any questions on that? I'm sure the committee has read that and we're fully ready to move forward. Any questions regarding that? Ms. Taylor, do you have anything you wish to address the committee?
No.
All right. Moving on now to future agenda items. The one question that I have is, what is the county planning for the 4th of July? Do we have anything? I mean, has that been canceled or?
I believe it's still on the calendar.
I think Winter has canceled their Jubilee. So I don't know if the Civic Club has canceled fireworks or not.
Yeah, Prop said it's going to have fireworks on the 3rd. So they're all open.
Yeah, I think some things are being delayed. I think the Winter Depot grand opening, they're delaying that to a date in the fall, August. I'm not aware of any county function activity.
Have we ever done anything for the 4th of July? No, we just go to bed early and. All right, any other matters for discussion only?
Down at the Berkeley office, they have received Friday 5,000 of working. Concern is, of course, the first 5,000 are the diehards. What's going to happen to the next 5,000? But it's a great start. So that idea will be a rookie one way or the other. And that's also true of the trail run, the rookie trail run, which is in September, run on the rookie trail. And if you look at a model, the Grandma's Marathon, which is a big event in Duluth, they have a virtual run this year where you can run your 26 or 13 miles anytime, any place within a 2-month period. And you say you're tracking with your player for the run. That's been very successful out there. So, then last year, the bridge, work has started on the bridge again on 77. So that should be done soon. And that now will remove any stoppage of traffic on any of the main highways. That'll be a big thing. And that bridge will be up year round. It's not put out and take down. It's not done. Okay.
I have a question on that. With the recent dam break and the mosquito blowers there, was there much damage?
It was. Yeah, that was the footage. Was damaged, so they'll have to repair that.
That will be repaired in time for the run on the.
The run's gonna be on the north end.
Okay.
So it probably wouldn't affect it, but right now you can't run the boomers over it, so.
Tom, I have a question regarding the crowd thing. So when we have all these demonstrations that are happening across the nation that are probably not adhering to social distancing or groups of 10 or larger, is there a restriction in the state that prevents these groups from forming? What would be, at what point does this become an assumption of risk for participants to make a decision if they're going to be part of the group or not? And how much of it is a prohibition under state law? I mean, what would stop us from having the birth? I don't know how anybody could stop anybody from having the birth. I mean, people could decide if they want to do it or not. I mean, is there a restriction? Why is there, Mr. Hoff?
Yeah, currently there's no state restrictions. You know, with the Palm case, the Supreme Court came out, you know, and set that aside. So there are no restrictions at the state level. Local public health officers operate under a different portion of the statute. They still have authority to do what they need to do in a health situation. So they can still enforce or establish and enforce an order on a local level for crowds, you know, no more than a certain amount of people. So, you know, that's kind of what the fear is talking about too. And there was a meeting on Friday with CAMA and the Berkey and public health. So they're constantly talking about how to do things safely and appropriately. You know, and we're in a good spot right now as far as, you know, the number of cases and what they're seeing in public health. You know, as things kind of evolve, they're moving toward a kind of a code, like a green, yellow, red kind of system, and we're under green right now. But if things kind of turn around in the fall and in the winter and go the other direction and we get into a yellow or red, then, you know, orders need to be stepped up to do whatever needs to be done on the public health side. But the local public health officer can do orders as they always could under statute, which is a different thing than what happened in the fall case. We had a ordinance amendment that was put forth in public safety. We didn't take any action on it. They're still looking at that from the Wisconsin Counties Association as far as clarifying the local health officers' statutory authority and what that means. And so we wanted to clarify, you know, because there has been this discussion with the Palm case and, you know, what is the authority on the local level. So that'll be coming back in July, probably August, to help clarify what the health officer can do locally. And I've got actually some other information I'll shoot that out as well, just on where that's at.
So that's statutory authority for the county public health officer. Is that a criminal type of authority or is it a civil authority?
I can't answer that.
Because I mean, one would be if someone violates it, then they're looking at imprisonment, and if someone violates it under civil, then they're looking at a monetary fine. So that means that that the groups would be, it would be a regulated conduct, and if it was prohibited under a criminal sanction, then it's prohibited, and then clearly the event can't happen. But if it's a regulated conduct, then it can happen, but I don't know. It would be really nice to have some clear guidance about this because this changes every week, and yeah. So, all right. Thank you for everybody. Anything else for discussion? We're set for.
Jim, can I ask, Tom, you mentioned the winter people, that's, you know.
It's getting close to being completed, and they're planning on having it done. They were planning on having it done by July 4th and having a grand opening. So I think it's still going to be completed by that time, but they're going to postpone the ceremony of a grand opening until later in the fall. The county did set aside some contingency funds, which they did have to tap into a little bit. I think around 5,000 or 6,000 at this point. The DNR has really stepped up in their efforts on funding. They've done some fundraising. They're going to continue to do some fundraising, like a gun raffle and buy a board kind of fundraising thing. So they've been very successful, and we haven't had to contribute on the county level to the extent that we set aside some contingency, at least at this point. But rolling along pretty good. I've been getting pictures, updates from what it's looking like, and it's really going to be a very nice facility when it's completed. I'm really happy to see what they did. It's good.
Did the county receive any, did I read somewhere that that it was released, there was money that was distributed to counties? I didn't read that.
Well, you're talking about CARES Act?
CARES Act, COVID funding.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been seeing some money come in from different departments. The main money that's been set aside for counties, we've got an allocation. They're working through the process on how we apply to get that money. I think it was about $250,000 in that neighborhood that Sawyer County would be allocated. And those would be to cover expenses, unbudgeted expenses related to COVID activity, COVID response. So we have been tracking those in our financial system so that we can recover this money as it becomes available either from FEMA or CARES Act money or other sources, wherever it's going to come from. So we're just waiting. I think in early July is the deadline for the first application, but we don't even have the application process at this point. So we're keeping our eye on what happens, and we'll try and recover as much of that as we can. There's still been no activity on the revenue side to recover for lost revenue, such as the dip in the sales tax that we're expecting, especially through the summer months. So far, sales tax has held its own. It's through the first part of the year, but the month is it's a month behind. The state is a month behind in reporting. So I think the next few months will tell the tale on how big of a dip we're going to see. Projections currently are probably in the $300,000 to $350,000 range of sales tax that we were anticipating that we won't receive, and so that there's no money currently available to recover from that. So that's where we're looking at possible budget issues in 2020 and looking forward into 2021. How is that budget going to look, and how do we budget for those revenues, and how are they affected?
Any other matters for discussion only? Hearing none, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.